A third edition of the Unnameable Elements? I didn't even know it had editions.
Oh, it's much improved with the index. Please, borrow it if you'd like.
I'd love to. Oh, Rook, you probably wanted to say hi. Thanks, Professor.
You look moved in.
Just a few essentials. Manfred was a great help with the boxes. What a fascinating place this lighthouse is. What do you make of it?
I think I like it better with a necromancer in the place.
Do you?
Especially one with experience.
I must be sure to live up to expectations.
Did you get the tour yet?
Oh, I've been exploring, but I noticed a few of the others taken aback by Manfred, and I overheard remarks about my skulls. My necromancy won't cause any undue worry, will it?
We're still getting used to one another.
True, and yet...
Give it time. We'll settle in.
Please excuse me. Manfred and I should finish our inventory. Thank you for stopping by. How thoughtful, Rook. Thank you again for coming. My duties include tending to these rites of remembrance. Excellent. Manfred found his way down. Very good, Manfred.
He sounds excited.
I thought we'd start the rites here. A tableau of the dead, commissioned 173 years ago. These lives were flickers against the ages, precious, fragile, and finite. Now they serve as a warning. Don't linger overlong in the gloom. Live with grace and fervor while you may.
No one's gonna seize the day for you.
Just so. That one's livelier. Here. Who were you when you breathed above?
This body was a tailor's, a mother's. She laughed and taught and wove the robes kings wore when they were crowned.
Tja. Someone must realign her thoracic vertebrae. I hope the novices are inspecting the displays.
Seems disrespectful to abandon something you built.
Precisely. No wonder there's been an uptick in hauntings.
Wait, what?
Let's continue. Look here.
Hi? Should I say hi?
It's curious about you. We're also enjoying the gardens, but with one last ritual ahead. On your way, my friend.
Spirits really are your specialty.
I've always had a rapport with them. Even as a child, they were my companions.
After you started training here?
After I was orphaned.
Oh.
A collapsed building, swift deaths. After the funeral, the Watchers took me in.
Belated condolences, if that's worth anything.
Always. We move on, as we must, but those long nights linger about the shadows.
How did you deal with it?
I didn't. When I first arrived here, I was terrified.
And you still joined the Watchers?
They're what saved me.
So you were really afraid of this place as a child?
It wasn't the necropolis itself, but what was draped around it. Have you ever been frightened by the thought of dying, Rook?
Hasn't everyone from time to time?
When I was younger, it happened more often than that. That's when I discovered I possess a great terror of dying. It goes beyond dread. Can't be reasoned with or soothed over. It comes without warning. In the dead of night, in sunlit streets. A raw, strangling fear struck somewhere deep past the heart.
That's an issue for a necromancer.
Oddly, I discovered I wasn't alone. I debated this fear with friends. I argued with teachers. Yet, it lingered. Manfred's right. That's maudlin enough. There are struggles, but a watcher should always find peace amongst the graves. And what sort of host would I be if we didn't end with some light refreshment?
Did you set all this up to make a good impression?
Of course not. I was only...
Because it's working.
Then it's my pleasure to share the tranquility of this place with you. With all my regards, but I don't want them to think me homesick.
Hi, Emmrich.
Rook, hello. Just composing a few letters. The other Watchers have been most interested in our adventures.
What's the Grand Necropolis like?
Its majesty has stilled the tongues of kings and queens. It's a haven for spirits and the dead, a vast well of history, the duty and shelter of every Watcher. We who serve it are pledged to an eternal vigil.
What do Watchers, watch for?
There are stranger and more dangerous things than spirits in the Fade, Rook. The Watchers stand against them when their shadows rise.
Anything lately?
A few portents I cannot put down solely to the chaos of the elven gods, but nothing definitive. Perhaps only shivers in the void.
So, I've heard people call necromancers mortalitasi. What's the difference between them and the Mournwatch?
Oh, all Navaran necromancers are mortalitasi. The Watchers are a special order within them.
Very fancy.
We've certain privileges and attendant responsibilities.
What's the Mournwatch do?
Our first duty is safekeeping the Grand Necropolis and preparing the funerary dead. Another is stopping misuse of dark magic and necromancy.
Must keep you busy.
Not often, but on occasion.
I couldn't help overhearing the word homesick.
Oh, I'm fine. Completely absorbed in our venture. But if I were home, I'd be preparing for new students or requests to speak to the dead.
You didn't stop teaching just to be with us, did you?
I'm long overdue for a sabbatical. Besides, do you know how many students the faculty wanted in my class next season? 10! How's one meant to tailor separate lessons for 10 pupils at a time? Honestly.
Can people just ask you to show up for some corpse whispering?
Oh, nothing official. There are very few of us, but we help here and there. Questioning a victim of murder, clearing up disputed wills, and sometimes fetching back last words from a loved one.
You can get anything out of the dead and they just let you leave Navarra?
My gift has limitations. The dead only know what they did in life. What was clear under the sun is sometimes blurred when I revive them.
Makes sense.
Honestly, some conversations aren't worth the trouble. Death encourages obstinacy.
Good to chat. I'll let you get back to your letter.
Before you go, I wanted to thank you for your company in the Memorial Gardens. There's another ceremony I have to perform there. If you'd like to visit again. Not yet, but soon.
You know I can't turn down spending more time with you.
How lovely to hear you say so. I'll always be glad to show you around the tombs, my dear. At your pleasure.
I'll take you up on that.
Wonderful. Until then.
Hi, Emmrich. You've got a guest.
Ah, Rook. You remember the Hand of Glory?
Hard to forget. You figure out what those Venatori who broke into the necropolis were doing with it.
The hand is how they broke in. The simpler undead are blind to its bearer when its tapers are lit. Sadly, only a death mage could have provided them with this forbidden necromancy.
If they're helping the Venatori, that has to stop.
Agreed. I've made some inquiries. This man is one of the death mage's victims. If he knows where this rogue necromancer is hiding, my corpse whispering will give us the answer.
That's a bad way to die.
The other watchers are attempting to find his family, at the least. I must warn you, it will be harder to coax answers from this poor man than from the dead I spoke to in the necropolis. Let flame rekindle your sight. Let breath and light rise again.
Who did this to you? Eyes hidden, dust and gold.
Give us a name.
They come for this one. The spirits shriek. They come.
A name?
Blackthorn.
Return to your rest.
Not a flinch. You really know what you're doing.
Experience is the greatest teacher, and an open heart to what the spirits need.
I bet not every necromancer looks so dapper when they're working, though.
You choose the most extraordinary moments for compliments.
Is that bad?
Quite the opposite.
Back to the topic. Does Blackthorn mean anything to you?
Blackthorn Manor is an abandoned country house outside Navarra City. Our victim mentioned spirits. If they've also fallen prey to forbidden magic, they'll need our help as well. Let's depart for Blackthorn when you're ready. I'd like to speak to the necromancer behind all this.
So, Blackthorn Manor. Let's hope that necromancer working with the Venatori is around.
There's a malaise amongst the spirits here. Some form of confinement. This must be the place.
Right. So why'd we bring that?
Oh, it's essential we have the Hand of Glory.
I'm just grateful you know what to do with it.
It's a fascinating piece. The magic laid upon a hand of glory is complex. Whoever killed its donor left their mark.
So it'll lead us to whoever cut it off?
Precisely. Most likely the necromancer who's been helping the Venatori. It would have taken extraordinary skill to layer the involutions on this artifact. What a waste of talent.
I like how passionate you are about your work.
Death is one of the primordial forces. It breaks bonds as it lays the ground for the new. At times, there's something stirring about the elegance of it.
That's quite a way of putting things.
I always choose my words carefully. Forbidden necromancy can twist spirits. We must find this death mage and stop whatever they've done to them. Song of the Chambers won't have anything on what Johanna's... Perhaps the Waking Scrolls? No. Manfred, have you seen the Fellmarch manuscripts?
You and Manfred need an extra pair of eyes for... whatever this is?
I suppose it's time I explained this mess. Johanna Hesenkos was a watcher. She was banished for embracing the darker paths of our art. Forbidden magic, blood sacrifice, nothing is beyond her if it leads to power, recognition, or both.
It sounded like you knew her before all that.
We were friends, once.
If it helps, you've got someone who cares right next to you.
That's very dear of you, but I'll be fine.
It's so cute how you're such a bad liar.
Things used to be much better between Johanna and me. She truly was brilliant, and we got on so well as students. We partnered on papers, rituals, research. Yet even then, Johanna considered the Watcher's oaths quaint. This isn't the first time we've crossed paths since she was exiled, but now I fear she's turned herself partly undead.
Even after what she's done, I feel a little bad for her.
Well, undeath isn't always a disadvantage. But yes, you saw Johanna's Lantern of Unwilling Souls. A necromancer could create monstrous undead with that much stolen life.
Hesenkos was yelling a lot about conquering Navarra City.
We must stop her, Rook. Thank you, Manfred. Quite right. The Order's knowledge will see us through. Ah, hello there. Just admiring how carefully the Fade is woven into this place, as cultivated as a palace garden.
That's old elven stuff for you. Magic everywhere you look, and also where you don't.
I do envy you, Rook.
Really?
A young rebel striking from the shadows against Tevinter's empire? Not to mention traveling with Varric. The adventures you've already had.
You cut a pretty intriguing figure yourself. Do you really think of me as some grand adventurer?
Well, something thrills at traveling with a daring young woman who's racing to stop an apocalypse. Especially if she's shown unexpected interest in a new companion.
I didn't expect to meet a compassionate necromancer, but I really like that about you.
You humble me. May I show you something of the greater Fade here?
Go ahead.
Close your eyes. Take a breath. Slow. Deep. Be born. on the great currents. See now as they see. When I talk to the dead, their echoes abide with me. Thoughts and passions, hopes and desires. The shades of death have greater depths than you may know, Rook. If your attentions go beyond charming flattery, that would interest me, indeed.
I think they already...
You finished the reagent. Excellent work, Manfred. I must tend to this, but I'd be delighted if we found each other later. Do you remember, Rook, when I mentioned another ceremony I must perform at the Memorial Gardens? The time has come. I was hoping you'd accompany me again.
More grave lighting?
No, this would be a more personal visit, whenever you've time. Now, what do you have to say for yourself?
Did I miss something?
Since we're here to gather flowers for the dead, I thought I'd teach Manfred some plant names. But I just caught him attempting to wade into a rose bush.
Emmrich, how could you stay annoyed at that face? Skull.
Oh, Manfred. Whatever will happen to you if I pass on?
If?
There's something I'd like to talk about. Do you know what a lich is, Rook?
Lich. That's Old Tavine for corpse, isn't it?
A lich is a mage transformed into one of the undead while retaining their true, original consciousness. The idea fascinated me when I was younger. For years, I researched and experimented, spoke with spirits and mages. Then, eventually, I found them.
Who?
The Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis. Necromancers before me who'd transformed themselves into true living dead.
Well, not everyone gets to meet their idols.
Oh, but I was nervous. The Liches are the great protectors of the necropolis, bulwarks against forces that threaten creation. After years of tests and rituals, they granted me my desire, the right to attempt Lichdom.
Hold on. If you become a lich, then all this flirting we've been doing...
I should hate to lose your company while I'm still mortal.
What would you being a lich be like?
A vast leap. Flesh cast aside for bone, returned immortal for all time.
And you'd be a powerful, undead mage with secrets beyond mortal understanding?
A cherished desire.
That's perfect.
Oh, I'd inform you before making any decisions to... questions of Lichdom are... Lichdom is an incredible honor. Immortality, prestige, the most hallowed ranks of the Watchers, as well as a chance to be of service past my allotted years. But there are considerations.
So, what's holding you back from Lichdom?
Even with all my preparations, there's a chance I could die permanently during the rites. What cowardice! A promise of immortality, an end to all my fears, and the final veil stays my hand.
Emmrich, you've spent your life preparing for this and it could still fail?
You say nothing that hasn't hounded me. Traditionally, candidates for Lichdom face one final sifting of the soul. If they avoid it, you saw my old colleague.
Hezenkos. She's a lich.
A half-lich, though that hasn't diminished her powers. Until I stop her plans, I won't possess the peace of mind for Lichdom.
In memory of Rupert and Eleonora Volkarin, they walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, it's a pleasure. Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course, the choices ahead.
Your Lichdom?
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
Shroud's Kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. Rook, darling, I was thinking of spending an evening with just the two of us.
I'd like that.
Wonderful. I've made all the arrangements at the necropolis. We'll leave whenever you're ready. How did you find everything?
Best meal I've had in a graveyard.
One advantage of being senior staff is requisitioning the kitchen's better cooks.
You did that just for me.
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
I have been more tired lately.
More so than you might even realize. I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
It's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
Okay, so, Emmrich, I wanted to tell you something. You're my first... anything. I've never been with anyone romantically.
We can move slowly, and I'm glad you chose me.
It's been good so far.
Oh, excellent.
What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black? Green? Yellow, but like a bone yellow?
Lilac.
Ah, of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
Rich purple. The kind you get with those really expensive dyes.
It's the color of royalty in some kingdoms.
Maybe I've got ambitions. Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest,
Come on.
darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Oh, thanks. Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here. As our spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that, I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest Fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
You're so philosophical around flowers.
It's the purpose of the gardens, to lift our thoughts to something higher and finer than we are.
Like that.
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood.
I don't understand why you're bringing so many books.
Well, I don't see what your objections are to my taking a canopy.
We're only going for 2 days.
You've hardly brought more than a flask and a bedroll.
Should I send a search party out for you two in a couple of days?
No.
Of course not.
Emmrich wants to see more of Ferelden, so we're going camping. But he's treating it like we're going to an academic thing.
An expedition can have its earthly comforts.
You want to bring a shaving kit in the woods.
My dear Harding, a gentleman is never without a brush and a razor.
The whole point of going to the wilds is to get away from all that. So what if you get muddy and smell a little bad?
One can enjoy the scenery while remembering to bathe.
Emmrich, you always look good. And you can tell me all about the trip when you get back.
Of course, darling. It is only 2 days after all.
Exactly. So why are you packing a dressing gown? I don't understand the gown.
Harding, does it really matter if Emmrich brings 8 books?
9, actually.
And Emmrich, so what if Harding is fine sleeping on dirt?
Not all the time. Okay, Rook, I know. This trip's supposed to be fun.
I really have looked forward to you showing me more of your home, Harding.
Me too. Oh, and I'll make us sandwiches.
Ah, your famous ham and jam slam?
Well, yam and jam slam because you don't eat meat. So I'll use yams.
How thoughtful. Thank you, Harding.
Myrna, hello. I assume Vorgoth's not far behind.
We have her, Rook. We have her. We know exactly what she's planning.
The professor asked us to research the artifact that came into the possession of Johanna Hezenkos.
She carries a gloaming lantern.
That bad as it sounds?
They were fashioned in ages past by unscrupulous necromancers. The lanterns steal and concentrate life.
Johanna could use it to leech life from hundreds at a time. An endless source of power.
A lantern that sucks the life out of people?
Their very souls. But we know where Johanna will be.
She has returned to Blackthorn Manor.
Hezenkos intends to hold a soiree.
That can't be her whole plan.
No, but I propose a small group infiltrate Johanna's lair while she's distracted and destroy her lantern.
Let's do it.
Vorgoth and I must return to the necropolis.
Hunt well.
If only we could make Johanna see reason.
You tried before. She seems stubborn.
Perhaps that's why she attained immortality, while I quake on the threshold. If I make my own bid for Lichdom. Oh, it's no use pretending this hasn't stirred up that old dread of my own mortality.
I'm always here to talk about it. You know that, right?
It's a comfort, darling. Truly, but... Oh, Johanna was never beset by these sort of fears.
Well, a little fear's healthy. You'll feel better once we crash her lair and destroy that lantern. Promise.
Oh my! A body from the House of the Verheims, prepared during the Storm Age.
You're adorable when you get excited about things like this.
Well, who wouldn't be, darling? Such a rare find.
Prove yourselves. What claim have you to the deceased? A willing dead companion. This one concedes. Hezenkos makes a thing that should not be. Red tapestry. Look there.
Rook, did you hear that? Manfred just...
I know. Also, we should move.
What's that, Volkaren? Afraid to chance death for your precious spirits? For all your fine words on the subject, only I had the courage to risk my life for our art.
He's still got twice your backbone.
I see Volkaren somehow did net himself a paramour.
Emmrich, how's Manfred holding together?
We must go to the necropolis. His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volkaren. You were not expected so soon.
If I can do anything to help.
Thank you. But this must come from me. My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, Lichdom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichdom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichdom, Rook. That leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest and protect this world through immortality?
Emmrich, Lichdom is your life's work. Your dream.
I imagined I knew its price. If I haven't even the strength to accept Manfred's sacrifice, I would outlive you all, Rook.
Would you still remember us?
Always. Kept alive in Lichdom's immortal memory. Death's swift touch, held back for all time.
If you really want to go beyond death, I think you have what you need to let all of us rest.
And peace shall follow. You're right. After I make my farewells, I will undergo the last rites of Lichdom. And Rook, thank you.
Why is it so cold in here?
Greetings.
Rook, you remember Vorgoth? We were discussing some preparations for my Lichdom.
I shall be with you until the end.
Collecting your thoughts before the big day? Mm-hmm. Lots of them.
I've so much to do. Crafting a glamour, for example. After Lichdom, I'll need an illusion of my mortal appearance for polite company.
Good call.
I've told Harding about the ritual. I'll inform the others afterwards. But there's something I need to speak to you about as well, dearest.
Are you springing something on me? You get extra serious when you do that.
I don't think I... but to the point. Lichdom is a transformation of body and soul. A change in how I sense and feel. And I will still feel, but...
What are you saying?
Rook, dearest, I'm becoming undead.
I know.
When we met, I never imagined you'd be interested in... Then after you were, How can we be together once I go into death?
You're underestimating what we've got.
What are you saying?
Remember when we talked in the Memorial Gardens? About how you might be undead one day? I know things will be different when you're a lich. And weird. Maybe very weird. But I care about you, Emmrich. If you feel the same, we'll figure out the rest. Unless you think you'll be too busy with Lichdom for me.
Never.
What's this Lichdom rite actually like?
I must pass through the gates and meet the oldest forces in the necropolis. A final appraisal of my soul.
Hail the living! Emmrich Volkarin and his chosen witness, Rook, challenger of the gods, Volkarin's beloved.
Collect yourselves for the right.
I'm afraid this is as far as you're permitted. If anything should perchance go wrong, my dearest heart, you are the most magnificent thing to ever happen to me.
I love you.
I love you too, my darling. I am come to be judged by the dead.
Emmrich?
I see so much more clearly now. The deeper eddies of the Fade, the pulse of the necropolis. I have been through blood and darkness, and I have emerged into light.
I knew you'd come back to me.
Always, my love. Come walk the gardens with me. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please, bear with me. This will be rather difficult to explain. I may appear the same as always, as I stand before you, but I've recently undergone a ritual that...
I thought you'd have a skull face. Like a skeleton.
It must be his glamour. It's really something, Professor. I can't sense you're a lich at all.
Harding!
Oh, no. Was becoming a lich a secret?
So, the lich stuff is true, and you crossed that line.
It's been a long day. If you already know about the lich stuff, maybe we should talk later?
Oh, Harding only told us some of it.
I'm really sorry, Emmrich.
I'm not angry. I'm only disappointed.
No. That's worse.
Just tell me you'll keep your skin on.
That's not how it...
I should take notes.
Yeah, look, why don't we just start from the beginning?
Are you satisfied? Yes, I have entered Lichdom, and I am not an abomination, or a demon, or a disconsolate spirit. I have become something more. And yet I am still fully possessed of myself.
So you are a skeleton. Got it.
I wouldn't have helped Emmrich if I didn't trust him to...
Thank you, Rook, but please allow me. I'd like to think some of us have become friends. I value that more than you might know. But I am changed, and I would never cause you distress by staying where I'm no longer welcomed.
You're no weirder than you were before.
You're still you, no matter what you look like.
You all... really?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, now, question time.
But enough about me. Tell me about you and Emmrich.
What? Who? How?
Morrigan has eyes everywhere.
Oh, of course she does.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. We face Gillenane soon. When we do, there's no reason you couldn't stay back a ways.
What?
I'll be far more difficult to kill. You needn't face her head on.
First, no. Second, what brought this on?
I can see the life course through you, my love. Like a thread of diamond flame. Yet, I will lose you to time, Rook. What if I can't bear that for eternity?
Oh, Emmrich.
Even as I am, the mind is a victim of the heart.
Yeah, you're not great at holding stuff in. But don't mourn me forever. Promise?
Only if you pledge to be a bit more careful.
I can take care of myself.
We're heading into untold danger.
You can't be like this every time we face something big.
How can I not?
It's not my fault you're afraid to see me die.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Why does Emmrich have to... I mean, I know he's just...
Rook, darling, I wanted to say...
Yeah, about that argument.
It's no time to apologize, is it?
We'll talk back home, Emmrich. I promise. Emmrich, you're okay.
Thanks to you, dearest. Now, to the fight! Darling, are you certain you're all right?
We've still got work to do. I can collapse when this is over.
Rook, let us send word to all our allies. Your only task for now should be to rest. I hope you're feeling more yourself soon. I'll be back. Rook, dearest, please trust me. I must take you to the necropolis before we confront Elganon.
I trust you, Emmrich.
Thank you, my love.
Why do you look mortal? I thought no one in the necropolis minds that you're a lich.
I didn't want to alarm any citizens sheltering down here from Elganon's vulgar display of power. And the necropolis's enchantments will help detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
If you and the others hadn't pulled me out... Know what I kept thinking in the Fade, Emmrich? I wasn't afraid I'd die. I was afraid I'd be there forever.
You're not. You're here with me. But you've been through so much these past days. You must need rest.
Emmrich? You know, you don't have to hide your face from me.
I will let nothing part us again, my love. Not in this, nor any other world. Rook? Are you awake? It's morning, my love.
Are you sure?
Far above, the stars have just given way to the sun.
I'm still getting used to you having new, senses.
I never expected to hear the stars whisper across the firmament.
I bet. It's so quiet.
The world waits above, but we have some time to tarry.
What should we do?
Whatever you desire.
When we touch, it's like I can feel the magic humming in you.
Really? How fascinating. I hadn't considered it.
Yes, but maybe we could,
Ah. If it pleases you.
Yes, please.
Oh, it is purest relief to see us all gathered safe and sound. We reunited with Balara. What that poor girl has been through, and she's still returned to the fray. Elganon must fear what we might accomplish once we storm his tower.
We've already killed an archdemon and a god. We can do it again.
While Elganon's magic is fearsome, Solus is our true adversary. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. I shall treasure those memories into eternity. Come, my love, to battle together.
It's just ahead. Everybody ready?
There's nowhere I'd rather be, dearest. A man exploring worlds beyond mortal existence. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over.